Every hunter loves to talk about antlers, and sometimes a hunter will use a term that maybe another hunter doesn't understand, or a friend or a relative of that hunter doesn't understand. So I'm going to help you with some basic antler terminology today. This buck on your left is what we would call a typical set of antlers. He has a main beam that originates from the pedicle, top of the frontal bone of the skull. That main beam originates and comes out in a single form and ends in a point. That's what we refer to as the main beam. And then off of the main beam grow the tines, or the points. This is the first tine, which is oftentimes referred to as a dog catcher or brow tine. They're closest to the brow of the animal. And then you have the second point, the third point, and the fourth point. And so the main beam is considered a point, so that would be 5 points on that side. And in this animal's right side, you see the main beam coming out, and then we have the brow tine, the first tine, second tine, and in this case he doesn't have a matching fourth tine, so he is actually referred to as a 9 point, 5 on his left and 4 on his right. So that's a 9 point typical. So typical refers to the points that originate off of the main beam. That's the classic typical white-tailed deer. This guy over here is harvested here in Oktibbeha County, locally at Mississippi State University, by a hunter back in the 1980s. And he has the typical characteristics that he has a main beam with a point, and then off of the main beam comes a brow tine, a second tine, and a third tine. And on his right side he has the main beam, a brow tine, a second tine, a third tine, and then the end of the brow tine, the main beam. So his typical conformation or shape is an 8 point typical, but then he has all these extra points. He has what we call kickers, and this would be considered a kicker here that comes off of the side of the beam, or in this case these are called kicker points off of the side of the tines, or the normal points on the antlers. So we have a non-typical characteristics, but also the typical characteristic on this animal. He's an 8 point typical, but he has all these non-typical or extra points. His gross score was 210 4/8, and his net score was 202 1/8. So he's in the permanent record book for Boone and Crockett. Now this I called kicker points earlier, and if it was coming down directly down instead of from the side, it would be considered a drop tine.